If you're running an e-commerce business, there's a good chance you've already experienced some fraudulent orders. Some scammers out there just take advantage of the online shopping world, steal credit card information from innocent people, and place fake orders on your website, and later on, the credit card owners ask for their money back. Hey guys, what is going on? This is Eric from StilyoApps, and in today's video, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about how to handle high-risk orders for your Shopify store. Let's just jump into the video. Customers can file a dispute using the payment method they used and ask for the money back based on a few different reasons. 1. Payment wasn't authorized. 2. Product wasn't delivered. 3. Product not as described. 4. Product was damaged during shipping. And 5. Wrong item sent. This is where you send, let's say, an extra large t-shirt when the customer ordered a large t-shirt. These mistakes happens every once in a while. Once a dispute has been filed, a case is being opened against you in your payment processing account as the seller. If the customer wins, he gets his money back and you lose the product as well. And if you win, which rarely ever happens, you get the money back and the customer doesn't have to get a compensation. Managing high-risk orders in your e-commerce stores and responding to disputes is highly important, and if you're going to ignore that, it's going to cost you a fortune. I want to tell you a personal experience I had about 3 years ago. I got a chargeback for $5,000. I lost the money. That was super painful and very traumatic for me and my previous business partner, but I can tell you that ever since we took this subject very seriously, and I highly recommend you guys do the same and use the tips that I'm gonna say in the rest of the video. Okay guys, before we move on, I just want to ask you, please, if you like the video, if you like the content, make sure to subscribe so you know whenever we release new videos. Also, if you have any comments, questions, or anything regarding high-risk orders or anything else, just comment them in the comment section below and we'll make sure to answer each and every one of you. Let's continue with the video. It's important to understand that orders that come through search engines like Google have a higher chance of being high-risk orders. Let's say you're a scammer and you just stole a credit card. There's a good chance you're not just gonna go through Facebook feed and then find an ad with something you want to buy and buy it. There's a better chance you're just gonna head over to Google, find the thing that you want to steal and just buy it this way. So just be aware that Google have a higher tendency of generating high-risk orders. So the order's origin can be one sign of a high-risk order. Let's talk about some other red flag that could mark an order as high risk. First of all, whenever you see a billing address that is far away from the shipping address, that might cause a red flag and you better look into this order. Another red flag that you can notice is whenever someone changes the shipping address after the order has been made, you better look into that. Many times scammers just place an order with the original billing and shipping address and then just call the support and ask them to change the shipping address to their actual location or a PO box or anything they can take advantage of and stay under the radar. Another thing you should be worried about or just have in mind is phone orders. Many times scammers try to place orders over the phone instead of the online store because this way you have less information about them, but there are systems in place that can verify phone orders. I highly recommend checking it out. We'll talk about it later in the video. Another thing that you should be worried about is large orders. Let's say that your store have on average, average order value of $50 and suddenly you get an order for $5,000. You need to make some due diligence, contact the customer and make sure that this order is legit, especially if they're placing such a big order without contacting you in advance. Usually before placing a big order like that, the customer is going to contact the store, and if it doesn't, that's a red flag. You better look into that. And a final very big red flag is whenever you see that there were multiple attempts to complete the order and only after 5 different credit cards the order went through, that's a red flag. You better look into that as well. Okay guys, so we talked about some of the red flags that can mark an order as high risk. Now, how do you handle each and every order like that? First of all, luckily for you, Shopify have a built-in fraud detection system that's going to mark each order as either low, medium, or high risk of fraud. Let's talk about how to handle high risk orders. First of all, if you see an order that is marked by Shopify as high risk order, I highly recommend diving deep into this order and either cancel the order immediately because there is a good chance that this order is actually fraudulent, or make some due diligence and contact the customer and ask him for a few things that are going to make sure that you are risk-free, let's call it this way. First of all, you want a government-issued ID by the customer. You also want a credit card picture the customer used to pay for the order, and you want to make sure that the name of the customer actually matches the government issued ID, you can ask him to hide all the details except for the last 4 digits of payments and the name. Last thing you want to make sure is you want a proof of date, so a picture of a newspaper, anything like that. I know it sounds very harsh and very extreme, but that's the only way that if you get a dispute later, you're going to be risk-free and there's a good chance you're going to win the dispute. The second thing you want to do is use automations. So because you already automatically recognize some of the high-risk orders, you can utilize some automations to try and solve them and don't have to do it all manually. One example is you can use Reconvert to detect high-risk orders and display a message on the order confirmation page explaining the customer that this order is a high risk, and if he's not going to comply and send you the following details, you're going to automatically cancel the order. So this is one. Second, you can do the same with emails and SMS. If you find an order that is high risk, you can send an SMS or an email to the customer letting him know, all right, we have an issue with this order. If you're not going to provide the following details, we're going to cancel it. Okay, and the third automation that I recommend using, this one is if you're on Shopify Plus, is using Shopify Flow to set up an automation that after 72 hours, if you didn't get these details, the order is automatically being canceled and the money is being refunded. It's much better than later on losing both for the product price, shipping price, and lose the money that the customer paid. So it's better to just cancel the orders if you're not sure how to handle them. The third tip that I got for you is use some fraud detection and fraud prevention app that connect to your Shopify store and deeply analyze each and every order much better than the basic Shopify fraud detection system. They can also offer you protection for phone orders because they're sending the customer through a particular IP or anything like that. I'm not sure about the details, but it's working very well. They are also going to offer you an insurance in exchange for a small fee from each order, so that even if you do get a chargeback, you get the money back from there. So that's a great insurance to have in place. The last tip that I have for you, and it's very important to understand, not all chargebacks are happening because of fraud. Sometimes it's just the customers not being happy. Maybe they didn't get the product because their sister got it from the mail and they didn't saw it. Maybe the product actually got broken. So a lot of these issues can be solved during the dispute process and before the chargeback. So it's super important that you log into your payment processor, if it's PayPal, Stripe, Authorize.net, or Shopify payments every once in a while, and make sure you get all these disputes in order. Maybe try to solve them with the customer before they escalate it to a chargeback. This is very, very important. Your customers are going to love you for it. And it's important to understand also that if your account have a high percentage of disputes, eventually your payment processor might close your account because they're going to think that you're a fraud. Take care of these disputes, respond to them, maintain a high and positive rating score with your payment processor, and you're going to be good to go. Okay, guys. This is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed the content and you now know how to handle high-risk orders much better than before. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any other tips that we forgot, please make sure to mention them in the comment section below. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you know whenever we go live or release new videos, and hit the notification button so you know whenever we release new videos. I'll see you on the next video.